What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another F1 25 My Team Career Mode video. I think so far we've done pretty well with just saying 25 instead of F1 24. But it is round 4 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. 5.4 kilometers, 3.3 miles, and to be honest, I like things and dislike things about Bahrain's track. Just some of the corners I'm not a big fan of. I actually do love turn 10, which is that hairpin you're seeing on screen right now. But did I love it during qualifying is the question. Because we're going to start with the starting grid and see where everyone lines up for today's race. Verstappen again on pole, just beating Charles Leclerc by just about 3/10. So it's a pretty close one, closer than last time. But moving down the rest of the grid, we did get third, then Norris and Piastri just behind us, and then Carlos Sainz, Hamilton in the Ferrari, Yuki Tsunoda, George Russell, Fernando Alonso in 10th. And then for the back half of the grid, we've got Lawson, Antonelli, our teammate Hauger in 13th, he did pretty well. Bortoleto, Doohan, Hulkenberg, Albon, Hadjar, and then Ocon and Behrman, the two Haas cars there. And then Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll are fighting over the wooden spoon this afternoon, and let's get straight to the grid.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Indeed, Mark, it'll be good to do that. I feel like this race is going to be, I don't want to say similar. I feel like I've done well at this circuit. Maybe not in the very first My Team episode I ever posted, but it's been a pretty good circuit. I've been doing pretty well at it compared to the AI, but let's see how we do in this race. It's a nice medium hard for us. All the lights are on. Now they're out as we go racing for a very long hold. That was, there's all the wheel spin in the world, similar to last week, but we are now 3, maybe 4 wide as we go into turn 1. Got the Ferrari on the inside, Piastri on the outside, just trying to make our way through without taking anyone out of the race. Piastri though taking that bollard thoroughly out of the race, and somehow we made it through there without any damage. We've got them McLaren ahead of us on soft tyres, so I don't think I'm ever going to try and fight Piastri. What I will do is try to keep Leclerc behind, as Leclerc is on the hard tyres, and potentially just use the DRS from Piastri to carry us along. I do have a bit of a high downforce setup on that will treat me nicely in the corners and potentially give me the pace of those soft tyres, the McLaren, through the sort of high-speed corners and stuff like that. But down the straights, I'm going to need a bit of assistance from that DRS, as we've actually dumped Leclerc already. He's over a second behind, and with that, he actually held back some of the medium runners behind us during that initial part of DRS. So we're on lap 3 now, and we've got Norris 3.5 seconds back. Leclerc's sort of still with him, but crucially, we're still hanging on to his coattails. You can see it's taken everything we have in this car, all of our battery, everything, all of our paces. Yellow flags are flown in the sort of the start of sector 2 there as we're locking up into turn 10. Again, it's a bit of a Marmite corner. You either love it or you hate it, but with yellow flags out, are we going to see any sort of safety car coming in to this Bahrain GP early on? Carlos Sainz is the one who is having issues then and has pulled over to the side of the road, and it doesn't look like we're going to have any safety car. I don't want to say intermission. What word is it? Interruption, maybe? I guess that's what you could say. But either way, no safety car. We do have very fast cars towing us along nicely, to be honest. We're just trying to keep our tyres in check, try and keep some sort of battery, because we're pretty much always below 10-15%, and we're kind of getting away from Norris because he's having to hold off Leclerc and those behind him, and we're just trying to sit perfectly in slipstream and DRS for as long as physically possible. We're on a medium hard strategy, so we're probably going to go till about lap 9, 8, 9, 10, something like that. I don't think the softs can go that far in terms of like raciness. I don't think so anyway, but then again, it is a McLaren, so maybe they can, as you can just hear the tyres complaining. But through the fast sectors, like high speed corners like those found at the very start of sector 2, the bits in between 2 and 3 as well, that works quite well. But these straights, Piastri's really helping us out here and just giving us that extra speed. Because we've got that high downforce setup, we're not really feeling the negative effects massively of having a high downforce setup. Like, we're still doing alright in the straights, but again, we arguably could be doing better, but also not, because otherwise we would have lost the time in the corners anyway. But it's lap 4 now. We've got, you know, some tyre wear on ourselves as we almost lock up and go into the back of Oscar Piastri there, which is very, very scary. We did manage to get the DRS though, still, and looks like we're still going to get it for turn 1 as well. But yeah, a bit of a scary moment, potentially just relaxing a little bit too much behind this McLaren. And you can see we're actually getting pretty close to Piastri now, as we have a bit of a moment there, just under traction, having to cut the corner slightly just to not spin the car really. So yeah, a bit of a hairy moment for us, potentially a bit of dirty air coming in to play, and it looks like we're starting to struggle a little bit on our tyres. I'm not sure, again, if it's just dirty air or if our tyres are potentially not holding on as well as the soft tyres on that McLaren ahead. As you can just see, the car just wants to let go now. I don't know why. We're still having to push really hard because we're wanting to try and stay with the McLaren, but maybe our pushing has been the downfall that we didn't need, because Piastri's out of DRS. We've moved on a few laps from then and he's dropped us by a couple of seconds. Norris has been catching us slightly because he's had clear air and things like that, but he's not had DRS, so we're trying to keep him out of DRS. We're trying to get back into the DRS of Piastri, but ultimately I just know that's never going to happen. And yeah, it looks like we're going to come into the pits at the end of this lap for the hard tyres. I can only assume Piastri's going to do the same. I'm slightly concerned he's going to go for the mediums. You could just see how much the car is sliding around actually underneath us. So we're going to take it pretty easy into the pits, just to make sure we're not going to pick up any penalties or anything like that. We don't want to ruin this potential chance at a podium here. And yeah, so the top 3, Verstappen, Piastri and ourselves, are in the pit lane. Looks like there's another Red Bull coming in as well. So we'll see where we come out here. It looks like we're going to come out behind this little train of Gasly, Bortoletto and Co. And our teammate actually as well. So hopefully, yes, we will get DRS, which is very nice to see. Now we just have to heat up these hard tyres though, because they will be cold. I'm sure you will see in a moment when I pull up my MFD, because there is no grip at all when you leave the pits on hards. And yeah, we've got some slower runners in front of us here, but they are going to give us DRS, so is it really going to make us that much slower if we're not quite up to temperature yet? Possibly not. But you can see how much more grip, even just new tyres, even though they're cold, how much more speed we can take through the corners here. And just to kind of counteract that, I thought, why not have a lockup? You know, you might as well, if you've got good tyres, just bring yourself down a bit. But there you go, you can see our tyres are still freezing cold, which kind of explains the lockup a little bit as well, as again there, a little bit of understeer and a lockup on the front left, just because there's no temperature in the tyres. I didn't think this would happen, to be honest, on this game. I thought max pressures all the time is what you need. We now have Bortoletto under some pressure though. We're going to force him to the inside and take the racing line ourselves, braking just about the 100-meter board there, give him space on the inside and keep it on track ourselves. Lovely stuff with a bit of DRS. Our teammate and Gasly peel into the pit lane. I think I've got the job done, but there goes Bortoletto. You can see the pace difference just there in straight line to speeds. We're going to lazily send it up the inside, a little bit of contact there. Made no harm done, it seems. We give Bortoletto the position back, just because I was a bit borderline that, to be honest with you. We were very lazily coming in, we didn't really commit fully. But even now, after a full lap, our tyres are still not up to temperature.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just
the rear left is coming up to temperature, as is the front left, potentially. but the rears more so than the fronts, as that was a good little move that we did there to aggressively take the position and get ourselves some clean air in the process. Unfortunately, that does give Borto some DRS, which I'm not a fan of after what happened on the start-finish straight, but it seems like with the traction we had over the kick Sauber, we got the job done and made it stick. But yeah, it just looks like the front tyres don't want to heat up, which is a big concern. I actually kept the MFD open for so long in this race, because now we've ditched Bortoleto, we can now chase after Verstappen and Piastri. Now, it looks like we're actually catching Piastri slightly, potentially because we can just push without harming our fronts at all. But equally, I think it was kind of fluctuating a bit here and there. Leclerc's charging at us from behind. He's 3.2 seconds. But we've got the gap from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. We've got 4 laps to go to chase down Piastri. And it seems like he's got less pace on the hards relative to us. So I'm not really sure what is happening there. Potentially it's just... essentially all we're doing right now is qualifying laps, right? So potentially our car is more set up for qualifying laps, as there's a little bit of a rear end stepping out kind of moment there. And yeah, we just got to keep the car under wraps, keep it on the track, keep consistent, and just try and push as much as we can without really risking everything. Again, we're keeping up with the McLaren so far, but again, I'm willing to bet that's because we've got all the pace in the corners and not much pace in the straights. So we're spending less time in the corners, which is totally fine. But here we go, final lap. We've kind of been skipping through some laps because nothing was happening at all. Piastri 1.8 seconds ahead as we start this last lap. Is there anything we can do? Leclerc is 3 seconds behind. We've got to keep him behind. Keep Piastri, well, catch up to Piastri, who's gapped us immediately. This was the way as well, by the way. Throughout the whole second stint, when we were chasing Piastri, we'd get it down to about this gap. And then we'd have little mistakes or issues, or maybe Piastri would use his battery a bit more and we just wouldn't have our battery ourselves, and then he would pull out a little bit of a gap. But we can see him, he's just there, he's right there. We just need a few more laps, I think, to really kind of get onto the back of him, get some DRS and potentially look for an overtake. Leclerc is closing in though, 2 seconds to Leclerc. Seems like the top 5 or so are pretty spread out actually. Looking at the mini-map and looking at the timing, Verstappen's at the final corner now, Piastri's halfway down the straight, we've just started the straight, Leclerc is a couple of seconds behind us, and then Norris is only just going around that second to last corner now. So Max Verstappen does cross the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix, and then goes Oscar Piastri, ourselves, for a podium.
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
Well, a very undramatic podium, which I'm not going to complain about too much because, hey, it's a podium with some good points.
The checkered flag is out. We're going to be hearing that Dutch national anthem again because it's victory for Max Verstappen.
At least he didn't say Verstappen.
A great display of dominance today, Crofty, by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
Yeah, that Red Bull is looking a bit scary.
It's what every driver imagines when they start out on their long road towards Formula One. And for our lucky 3 today, here's the podium waiting for them. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again because Max Verstappen is back on the top step.
Yeah, again, not really much to say. It maybe wasn't the most exciting race in the world. The video is a bit shorter because there was less to show. But yeah, a good race, I guess, for us in terms of driving around semi-consistently and getting a handle on this car, and obviously the podium really helps.
And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Indeed, we will be back very soon for more, but let's run down the grid. So Verstappen, Piastri with the fastest lap, then ourselves to round out the podium, then Charles Leclerc, Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Liam Lawson, and our teammate picking up a point in 10th. Good job by him. And then Antonelli, Albon, Bortoletto, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Behrman, Stroll, Doohan, Hadjar, Russell, and Sainz, who DNF'd in the opening laps. Now, driver standings, very, very close between the top three, as it is pretty much in real life. Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen going at it. Then ourselves, P4, surprisingly, and then a little bit of a gap to the Ferraris and Mercedes and everybody else. So not too bad in terms of driver standings. Constructors and McLaren running away with it, because how could they not? Ferrari actually ahead of Red Bull at the moment, and ourselves sort of in no man's land, potentially fighting with Mercedes. So we're going to see where that takes us. But that's really it for today. The highlights are here for you now. Thank you for all the support, by the way, on the YouTube shorts I've been posting. It's basically my team in 60 seconds. I'm going to keep doing them. I really enjoyed creating them and kind of showing my team in a new format. So yeah, if you've seen it, let me know in the comments what you think, and if there's anything else you think I should potentially look at doing for YouTube Shorts, because that idea probably came to me while I was sat on the toilet, but who knows? I can't remember when I had the idea. It just sort of was a bit of an epiphany, sort of like a roof toilet. If you know, you know. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be back in a few days for round 5.